Okay, so here's our web application right here. I removed the red because I thought it was ugly. I can't remember the last time I saw a beautiful website that was red. It was a while ago. Actually, I can't think if I've ever seen one, and I've been browsing the internet for a long time. Okay, that being said, what do I want to talk about? Oh shit, my bad. Okay, so all of you guys will see that between your news articles, you have this comma. A couple of you have already asked. A couple of you, I know that you guys are about to run into this problem. The reason why that is occurring is because what we're sticking inside of the HTML is an array of strings. What does that mean? So remember that, let's think about what we've been doing so far. Can you guys see the screen? Can you guys see that? Okay. So basically, on lines 13 through 18, we're defining a function which is going to make a request to an API. It's going to take that request and it's going to form and it's going to produce some HTML, and we're going to stick that HTML into a string. Okay? Can someone help me? What is response right here? 14. What is that in detail? That is an object. We can tell that by reading the following line of code. .json. You cannot call .json on an array. You cannot call .json on a string. JavaScript will complain if we do that. After we get that data, we look inside of a key called articles, and inside that key articles, what type of data do we have? Come on, guys, someone help me out. I already know the answer. I want someone to help me out. Inside of articles, what do we have, guys? We have an array. I know that so in Python world, they call it a list, okay? But it's also called an array, list or an array. We map over it. And when we map over it, remember, the only thing we are ever allowed to stick in here is a function. That function takes a value, it takes an element, it takes an item, and it produces some HTML. So when this is all said and done, if we look at this, what will we get? What will be inside of articles.html? An array, right here. This is our big array. It has 20 items in it, okay? Because that's what we did right here. We're console logging it. Let's just do one more thing. Let's just look at the length of it. We scroll up. We see that we have 20 items, and that those are 20 items inside of an array. So you notice that this array is filled with strings. Every single element is a string that contains all the HTML that we produced, right? With this function right here. So we don't want to stick an array inside of our HTML. We want to stick a single string, and this string will be composed of all of these things joined together. So that's why JavaScript provides us with a join method. All we gotta do is call .join. And I think this will work without anything. So if I save it and I jump back over here, did it work? It did not work. The reason why that is because we need to pass it an argument, which is an empty string. So we save it and run it. Notice that the comma disappeared. Okay? Because before that we were trying to stick in an entire array. Think about this, okay? Remember what's inside of news articles right here, okay? Articles HTML. Okay? That is an array. Let's just confirm that we refresh one time. Fuck, I forgot. It is in fact an array. So refresh, and it is in fact an array. Once again, guys, I will do one more thing. We'll do the type of. It's going to say object because JavaScript is a little funky, but just know that it's an array. I'm sorry, I sound redundant. I'm talking redundantly. But we want to take that array and we want to produce one long string. Okay, so we can just do .join, and then we pass it like that. And if we do that, we'll see that these commas disappear. There are no more commas in between each one of these news articles. Okay. Additionally, okay, I was talking about using Moment.js. Okay. This one right here, if you guys look at the URL, this is the Moment.js library that has all of the required code. Okay. But this format right here, September 11, 2019, this does not work all over the world, you know? Or it works. But guess what? A lot of Vietnamese people don't understand that. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys are Vietnamese. Think about this. Okay, I'm pretty sure most of you guys are Vietnamese. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure every one of you is Vietnamese. Okay? That's why I specifically found one for you. I've specifically found one for you because the probability is if there's any other language other than English that you guys are going to be building for, it's going to be Vietnamese. Right? Seems pretty clear. And so if you Google Moment.js CDN, you're going to run across this thing right here, cdnjs.com, and you can see a list of all these URLs. I know that it's kind of unclear of how to use it, which is why sometimes you just have to let your technical lead do some research for you. Right now, I don't want you guys think of me as your teacher. I'm your technical lead. I'm trying to help you do your job better. That's my only job right now. Because if you do not do your job well, I have to do it. And I got a lot of other shit to do. I got to hire someone. I got to interview people. I got to read CVs. That's real things that CTOs do. They have to go meet people and talk to them and talk to people that wear suits and stuff. Okay? That's why we're hiring other developers, because we need help. So that being said, here's the CDN. What we're going to do is after we import the primary package, the primary library for Moment, we're just going to copy everything down. If you guys don't know how to do this, Option Shift down. Okay? Do this as many times as we want. Okay? Option Shift down or Control Shift down. Specifically right now, I want us to import Vietnamese. So because I'm Vietnamese, I happen to know which one it is. It's this one right here. If we're from any other country, obviously these ones would be interesting as well. If we're working for Google, this would be interesting as well because Google wants to work well for everyone. So we're just going to copy this, and then we're just going to replace this right here. We're going to replace what's inside of here. If you do that successfully, what you will find is that it's exactly this. I already did it for you. Okay? We need to incorporate both of these. That being said, let's go back to Moment.js. If we read the documentation, when you guys first come here, it's always in English first. I don't know why. It's always in English first. I guess because English is the primary language of the internet. I don't know. But if you guys scroll down and you click Vietnamese, and you scroll back up, you'll notice, ooh, what is that right there? Is that Spanish? No, it's Vietnamese, right? So we're just going to select one of these that we think we like. I can't read this that well, so I'm just going to select that one. I kind of know how to read Vietnamese, but not that great. Okay, so we're going to copy that. We're going to go back to our scripts.js, and then what are we going to do here? I'm going to copy everything down just so that you guys can see both of them and compare. I'm going to replace the argument that we passed to format with LLL. Is that right? No, my bad. It's little L's, okay? Little L's. So what's the expectation that we should have right now, guys? What do we expect to see happen? What is lines 8 and 9 going to produce? Yes, we're going to have two different dates. One of them is going to be formatted the original way, and the other one's going to be formatted the Vietnamese way. So let's go back to our code, or our UI, and we see that that is exactly the behavior we observe. Oops, are these both Vietnamese? I'm a little confused. I was expecting to see one in regular English. Okay. Did I do this wrong? Okay, let me research this and I'll figure out how to do both of them in English and in Vietnamese. Because later on, as your job becomes more complicated, your boss is going to ask you, can you make it work in Vietnamese for Vietnamese people? And can you make it work in English for English speakers? Okay, and I'm going to show you how we could do that potentially, one way. So you guys can open up your window, clear your console, and you just do console.log window. Inside of this magical thing called window is what? What type of data is this, guys? Is that a string? It's an object, correct, Hang. So if you click and open this window, you can scroll down, you can read, and inside of here, you'll see something that eventually says language. Somewhere in here. I forgot where it is, to be honest with you. Obviously, this is super complicated. You guys have a very simple object. So you guys are dealing with very simple objects. Look how many keys are on this one object. That must be 1,000 keys. I'm thinking that's probably 1,000 keys. Look how many keys that is. It's crazy. So your computer is just constantly doing all types of calculations behind your back without you even knowing it. Damn it, I shouldn't have tried to show you this on the spot. Is it? I think it's inside of escape. Here it is, right there. So inside of what is it? Inside of window. So do console.log window. Inside of this object is another key that we're interested in now, called client information. If we look at that, what is this? It's another object. It's an object in an object in an object. Okay? It's just crazy how complicated this gets. So inside of here, we'll look for another one, and then we're gonna look for language. Okay? So we can clear our log, go up, .language. So you can see that's en.-ul. Who here has Vietnamese on their computer? Who has computer set as English or Vietnamese? Just basically know that if you have your computer set or your browser set as Vietnamese, it's gonna say VN or VI. Honestly, don't know. I speak English, so like I really don't know what it's gonna say. But it's not gonna say en-us. Okay, it's gonna say something with VI. You can run this command right here. Okay. You can run this command right here to determine how to format your code, okay? And just know that I know this might be a more advanced design pattern, okay? This might be a more advanced design pattern, but all we got to do to know how to manipulate or make our app sexier is manipulate our strings using JavaScript, okay? Okay, so let's just do one more little thing. Oops. So anyway, so what I just showed you guys, let me share it in the chat. Inside of this magical thing right here, window.clientinformation.language, we can find what our user's language is. Okay, window.clientinformation.language, okay? That will tell you what the browser is set as, okay? What was the next thing I was gonna show you? We figured out how to localize. We figured out how to get rid of that space. We're gonna do one more thing, okay? This one is actually kind of useful, okay? So guys, you know how I told you earlier, one of the first things we talked about today was how in Python, if you call a function and you do not pass it the appropriate arguments, that Python will complain, right? It'll say like, hey, you can't do that, man. I'm expecting to take this argument. And JavaScript is not like that. If you call a function and you do not use its argument, that's cool. JavaScript is just gonna be like, that's cool. So it's up to us to use it. So know that when map right here, this function here, map on line 17, right? When this function is fired, right? It's gonna be given actually 3 arguments, right? The second one will represent the index, okay? It will be the index of the element, okay? The last one will be the array. I don't even know why they put this one in here. I've never had to use it. I don't know how useful it is. So when this function is fired, when we pass render single article to map, when it's fired, there's actually 3 arguments passed to it. And I'm gonna prove that to you. So we can console log the IDX, and I expect to see 0 through 19 on the screen, okay? So let's go back over here, and what do we see? 0 through 19, okay? So why am I showing you this? Because we're going to do something sexier now, okay? We're gonna say, hey. We're gonna say, hey, IDX modulo 2, if that's equal to 0, then we're gonna add a class of red. Otherwise, we're gonna say blue, okay? Yes. So now we're gonna apply these styles. We're gonna say border is 1 pixel solid red. And if it's blue, we're gonna do blue, right? You guys all with me so far? So now if you guys go back to our application, we can see that alternating, right? Alternating, we see that the border is different. And this one is actually useful. I would say that knowing the IDX is kind of useful. Knowing the last one is not that useful, in my personal opinion. Have you ever used that? Have you ever used the third argument right here? Yeah, I've never found a useful situation for using this one. But I promise you, this is what. Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at it, right? Let's just go ahead and look at it, right? Just prove that this is what's going on. So if we look at this, it just gives us the original array. I don't know why I useful this, but I thought I would let you guys know that. You know, just know I know a bunch of stuff that I haven't told you guys. Okay, so yes, so we incorporated some libraries. Okay, and know that we need to have both of these right here. We cannot use just the VI one. If we do that and then we come back here and refresh, it's going to complain. Okay, we need to have the original Moment.js library. I've seen a couple of you guys do that. Same moment is not defined. Despite the fact that we imported the Vietnamese one, okay? We still need to import the non-Vietnamese one. This is like the primary one. Line 63 is simply the primary Moment.js package. Line 64 is the localization for Vietnamese. Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to show you guys one more thing before we break. It's probably one of the things I really want to show you guys how to do. Okay? Now let's just imagine that we had a button. Or no, my bad. Let's think about this actually. Who wants to learn more? You guys want to learn more? I'm serious right now. Like I'm scared that I'm doing too much. Okay. I feel like some people haven't finished. I'm gonna keep going. Fine. Okay. So right now our API is hard coded, right? This is hard coded. We can never ever change this value, right? But are there only ever 20 values inside of a news article? No, there are many other. There are additional pages, right? They only give you 20 at a time because if you tried to load this API and it gave you 10,000 news articles, the server would crash. Okay, the server would crash and you'd be sitting there looking at your screen for the next hour as you're sitting here spinning and it's trying to get all this data. It's trying to consolidate all this data for you. It would take forever. So there's this concept in programming called pagination. Pagination is what the word is. I'm sorry that I apologize. If I'm talking too fast, please let me know. Sometimes I know I talk fast. And sometimes I know you guys are not native English speakers, so you know I need to speak slower and maybe spell out words sometimes. I get that. So the word we're looking for here is pagination. Okay? So the reason why I'm saying that is because I didn't talk about this earlier, but inside of our API request, we have a parameter called page right here. Okay? So if we delete this, it's going to complain. It's not going to work. But what we can do, right, is we can define a new variable called, we'll make it be a let, okay? Let because we want to be able to change it. So we say let page equal 1. So the first time that this application loads, page will be 1. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay? So when we fire our request, we want to move this down into it now. Okay? And then we want to use string concatenation right here. String concatenation. And then we want to do what in here? What do we want to stick inside that string right there? Page. Exactly. Okay? So now, when this first loads, we haven't broken anything and we haven't changed anything. Okay? And the reason why I'm going to show you this is I want you guys to know now how to get page 2. Exactly. Okay? So I'm going to save it. We're going to check to make sure everything still works. Okay, it seems that everything is still working. Okay, so what do we need to do after all this runs? We need to kick up the page number one time. So when this request fires, we need to kick the kick the number up one time. Very simple. So that the next time it fires, that the value will be 2. Okay? So watch this. I'm going to console.log 2 on line 24. So if I refresh, and then I look at the console log, what page number should we be looking at next? Page 2. Okay, so now the question becomes, how can we get news to fire again? How can we get us to do some more there? So the answer is by adding a button. We're going to add a button to the bottom. We're going to say get more news. That's probably a horrible name, but whatever, we're gonna call it that, okay? So now if you scroll to the very bottom, you see a button. But you'll notice that if I click it, nothing happens, exactly. So we need to do more. So a button is it has a special attribute called onClick. And the value that we put inside of here is the function that we want to execute whenever a user clicks on this. So right now, we're gonna do hello world. And notice that we have to have the parentheses here, okay? So if we click this button, is everything gonna be A-okay, guys? What's the function called? What's the function that it's gonna fire? On 63. Okay, so let's see what happens when we look at our console log. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. We're gonna clear this. Click it. So what's it saying? Hello world is not defined. That means that we have not like, we don't have anything that says hello world. So we just simply need to define that function right here. And in fact, I'm going to show you a different way to define this. So far, what I've been showing you of how to define these functions is the old way of writing JavaScript. There's a new form of JavaScript called ES6. So, yes, we can use the keyword const, and we can say the name function, say hello, and that equals a function like this. This is the syntax right here, guys. It's the keyword const, the name of the function equals some parentheses and an arrow. And then we have our curly braces. This is something you simply have to memorize, okay? You have to memorize this. There's no other solution.
How is it different from the old way? I mean, what's the purpose of writing a new way?
The distinction here is scope. There's a couple different distinctions. It's not one. There's a couple different distinctions. One of the things is the scope. So we haven't talked about this in class yet, but there are many, many different types of functions, right? So it's just like fruits, right? All fruits are the same. You can eat them. They have seeds in them, right? But they are kind of different. So functions are the same way. Functions are all the same, but on the other hand, they're kind of different, right? So for example, on line 20, what is render single article? That is a function. But because we're taking that function and we're passing it as an argument to another function, it has been elevated. It is now at a higher level of function. It's now what's known as a callback. Okay? We give it to someone and we say, call me, call this function later. Right? We're giving render single article to the map function and we're saying, hey, call me later. That is why they call this a callback function. There are other things that are different, but I don't expect you guys to know or remember it, to be honest with you. You guys are going to forget. I tell you right now, I guarantee you guys are all going to forget. Okay? What the hell is a callback? Just Google it, I guess. Read it. But I'm telling you what a callback is right now. Any function that we pass as an argument to another function is a callback. That is a callback. And that's one of like 10 different types of functions. And there's special, there's just, because they're used differently and they have different properties, they have special names. So anyway, what was the original thing we're doing? Okay, yeah, we're testing say hello. So the original problem that we had was that whenever we went to our website and we got to the bottom, we had read all of our news articles and we wanted to get more. We did not know how to do that. But then we added a button and then we added on line 63 right here, we gave it an event listener. I think this is called an event listener, I'm pretty sure. Okay? So basically it's saying, hey, wait for someone to click on me, and when you click on me, fire. That's all it's saying. Okay? So watch what happens. A second when I clicked it, it would say what? Say hello is undefined. Remember, when we click this button, it would say hello is undefined right here. So we're going to click this button now, and we're going to see whether or not it throws an error. Oops. Okay, I named it wrong, my bad. Hello world, my bad. Let's refresh it. Just go down. We do click more. And notice that it does not throw that error anymore. Okay? So let's go ahead and prove once again that it's firing. We'll do a console.red. So if this works right, when we go down and we click this, we should see console.log red right there. We should see the console log red. Do we see that? Yes, we do. Okay, so now what can we do inside of here? Actually, no, my bad. I made this way too complicated. My bad. Instead of defining another function, okay, you'll notice that on line 26, we automatically fire this function as soon as the page loads, right? But in conjunction with doing that, we can also just stick this function inside of this button, so that when the user clicks it, we call it again. Exactly. But that will be another problem. Okay, that will have another problem. Okay.
Oh yeah, it would replace the old news.
Exactly. No. So we can do. You'll notice that all these articles are now replaced. Basically, we took all these news articles, we got to page 2, and then we threw away all the old ones and only put the new ones on the screen. Okay? So how can we solve this problem? We can append right here. Instead of replacing everything inside of this UL, we can simply append to it, which is basically saying everything inside this UL right here, whenever line 21 executes right here, we're going to append some stuff inside of here. I think this will work. I'm pretty sure this will work. I might have my syntax wrong, to be honest with you. So let's just test. Let's just test right now, okay? I'm going to go to document.get element by ID. We're going to copy this one right here. Okay, we're going to test. We found it. We do .append. We're going to stick in h1 hello. That work? Kind of works. Append element. Append child, my bad, append child. It's one of these. I forgot which one this is, to be honest with you. Append. Stick raw HTML in JavaScript. Fuck me. Okay, so there are many different ways to do this. Okay, I'm going to show you the way, the easiest way. I don't want to Google here for a minute.
The easiest way is you take care of it.
Yeah, okay, so there's a couple different ways to do this. Let's go ahead and define a new variable. We'll call this news articles, okay? When we say that's going to be an array, okay? And so we're going to take our array. So when we get our data back, we're going to say news articles. How do we add two arrays? I forgot. Concat, news articles.concat, data.articles. This is one way. And probably this is kind of, you guys are probably going to start tripping now. I kind of wish I didn't do this now, but whatever. We're going to keep doing it. We're just going to replace that one right there. Then we do inner HTML. I'm going to show you what this does in just a second, okay? Don't worry. So I think that this will work correctly. We're going to scroll down. Okay. And now we're just going to, news articles, what we're doing with concat here on line 21 is basically we're taking two arrays and we're making one. Let me show you in the console, okay? So say, hey, let's just say I have an array, let's just say let people equals Loy, Young, Men, okay? And then we'll say let people 2 is equal to Young, G, trying to remember everyone's names here. Boom. Okay? So we have people. We have people too. Okay, I spelled it wrong. My bad. I don't know. So just know that we can do people that concat, and then we can pass it the second array that we want to concat, and that produces one long array. Okay? We're taking two arrays and we're merging them. This function is called different names in different programming languages. Okay? It could be a merge. It could be called a flatten. It could be a concat. So that's what line 21 does right here. So when we get our news articles, we're going to map over them, and then we're going to render that, okay? So basically, I believe that this should work. Let's see. Let's just see. So in order to test that this works, I'm just going to console.log Fansipan And then inside of here, we're gonna look at our news articles.link. Okay? So my expectation is that the first time that this fires, that we should see the number 20, and when we click the button, we should probably see 40. Okay? I'm gonna refresh the page. Oh, my bad, I didn't call it. My bad. Houston, we have a problem, guys. What's going on? What's going on here? What the fuck? Okay, let's just look at this real quick. Let's just look at news articles. Why is this not working? Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so we do get it. Data.articles. Articles. So we have data.articles. Yeah, that seems right.
Maybe it's not working with object.
Well, we have our news articles up here. Can we do that with an empty thing? We're about to learn, guys. We're gonna take an empty array. We're gonna merge it with 1, 2, 3 inside of a new array. That works.
Let's try to concat an object that contains with another object.
Right here, news. You want this to be an object right here?
I mean, you concat the data of the articles, which is the object. It's not a normal array. It's a different. Maybe it's not working.
What's wrong? What's wrong with my code here? It's okay. I think I did something wrong. I'm pretty sure.
You use the article.concat, you put in data.articles, which is the object.
No, data.articles is the array.
Array.
I'm pretty sure it's an array. Yeah. Think about it.
As the object.
So let's just look at data. So refresh. Inside of data, we have articles. Inside of here is our array. So we do .articles. Just think about this. Alright, guys, this is what programming is. Testing. Why is it not working? What the fuck is this working? We have an array. Because, dude, is that it? Okay, there we go. My bad. So this is actually not appropriate. We concatenate it and we never actually save that value. My bad. Okay, I don't remember everything. So my okay, hold on. So now let's look at the link now, okay? So my expectation is the first time it says 20, and then we scroll down. And my expectation is when we click this one, next time it should say 40. And it should increment by 20 every single time until we run out of news articles. So I'm gonna click get more news. The second page is the last one. So now you guys can see that we can scroll down. Okay, let's think about this, okay? So we scroll down, and what's the last news article? Google hit with sweeping demand from states over ad business, okay? We have 20 articles here. I'm gonna click get more news. And notice how now news articles says 38, and we can actually, instead of having Google hit with sweeping demand from states over ads, blah, 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 we can scroll further, okay? All right, so that's a like a high-level overview of some stuff. Do you have any questions? Questions, anyone? Okay, so all right, let's just keep working, and yeah, I'll let you guys do your thing.